Now, this is me in a nutshell. Help! I'm in a nutshell! How did I get into this nutshell? Look at the size of this bloody great big nutshell. What sort of shell has a nut like this? I mean, it's just crazy.
This is Al Weissman, and welcome to the latest installment of In a Nutshell. We have what should be an informative, entertaining, and enjoyable show for you today. During the first hour of today's show, we'll spend some time with Kevin Lee, with whom we will chat a little bit, and upon whom I am hopeful that we may prevail to display some of his incredible musical talents for us. In the second half of today's In a Nutshell, we'll listen to some of the great music of former guests who have appeared on In a Nutshell in the past. I want to remind you that our Facebook site is located at www.facebook.com/In a Nutshell with Al Weissman, where Dolores and I post announcements each week about things like who will be on that week's show, usually a sample of that individual's musical talent. We might list what guests we expect on other upcoming shows, occasional interesting musical blurbs, and fun facts and other stuff. You may want to check out our Facebook site, and while you're there, you may notice at the top of the site a little teeny tiny box with the word like in it. As of last night, I didn't get a chance to look at it this morning, the number 595 appeared alongside the word like, and so we're looking for about 5 more people to like us so that we may reach that landmark number. So when visiting the site, share a little love, click the like box at the top of the page. We'd appreciate that. That's www.facebook.com in a nutshell with Al Weissman. And if you click the like box, all announcements about future shows, etc., ad infinitum, ad nauseum, that I've already mentioned above, and I'm not going to go through it again, will appear in your feed at no charge to you whatsoever. And these will not mess up your or hog your feed, as we aren't perpetual posters. We very tastefully and discreetly post items here and there so as to keep you informed and not crowd it out of your own Facebook page. And I think what I'm going to say is that for the 5 people who bring us up to 600 Facebook likes, if you leave your email address, we'll contact you and make arrangements to send you a CD from some of our previous guests who have appeared on In a Nutshell. We've got some CDs laying around that haven't been distributed yet. Today, we're going to be visiting with Kevin Lee, who's in the building here, but not yet in the studio. I found an online review done by Wayne Lundqvist, a known entity in the business of evaluating modern pop music, who wrote these words about Breakout, a recent CD by Kevin Lee and the Kings. Kevin Lee and the Kings lean on the rockier side of power pop with some chunky guitars, big hooks, and driving beats pushing the songs forward nicely and are great to rock out to. The songs on the album are extremely well written and produced to a very high standard, and sometimes move at a pace that may make you think the songs are about something other than heartbreak. However, listening to the lyrics, these are very much songs of loss, love, and despair. They say an artist has to suffer for their art, and to produce an album like Breakout with its lyrical content, you can only imagine. But as far as producing a top-quality album with some really touching, meaningful lyrics, Kevin Lee has certainly achieved that, and we've gained an album of songs written with real passion and sincerity, not to mention energy. On Breakout, Kevin Lee and the Kings create classic strong guitar rock power pop with a modern edge, and that again was by Wayne Lundqvist, Ice Cream Man Power Pop. So we have to wait a minute or two for Kevin to come into the broadcast booth, although he is in the studio premises. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play one tune by one of last week's guests, Classical Blast. Last week David Cav was on with Classical Blast, and they were outstanding. So here we go.
If you can hear me, is there anyone home? Come on now, I hear you feeling down. I can ease your pain, put you on your feet again. Relax, I need some information first. Just the basic facts. Can you show me where it hurts? There is no pain, you are receding. stand out. Do believe it's working good. That'll keep you going for the show. Oh, it's time to go. There is no pain, you are receding. The distant ship smoke on the horizon. You are only coming through in waves. Your lips move, but I can't hear what you're saying. When I was a child, I caught a fleeting glimpse out of the corner of my eye. I turned to look, but it was gone. I cannot put my finger on it now. The child is grown, the dream is gone. And I have become to me now.
Al Weissman in a nutshell. Very, very cool song. It was a classical blast. And they were on the show last week. They did a great job. Comfortably Numb. So now, with us in the studio, I'd like to introduce two guests. We have with us Kevin Lee. Kevin, how you doing?
Good, good.
Good. You got
to be
it.
here.
I'm sorry?
It's good to be here.
Good. Nice to have you here. And we also have Joe Mohlman, who's host of the website Music Connection of McHenry, Illinois. Joe, how you doing today?
Very, thank you very much.
Good, good.
Thanks for
Okay.
having us.
My pleasure, really. But you got to remember, you got to talk right into the mics, otherwise it's going to be like you're not even in the room. So people just won't hear you. So I'd like to ask you, if you would, please, Kevin, can you play us a song or two?
Sure, sure.
Okay, great. Sounds good.
All right, so it's called Tell Me What It's Like. It's off my latest album, Breakout.
I was broken, hanging on a wire. I was choking on my own desire. Back out on the street, trying to make a play to
back what I lost some way. Tell me what it's like to find someone to get it right. Tell me what it's like to see this through. I was angry, punching at the sky. I was lonely, lost and terrified. Looked inside myself, trying to find a clue to right the wrong I didn't mean to do. Tell me what it's like to find someone to get it right. Tell me what it's like, see this through. You were there for me every time. Not a mountain you wouldn't climb. But I lied to you till you saw the warning signs. So tell me what it's like to find someone to get it right. Tell me what it's like to make it to the other side. Tell me what it's like to find someone to get it right. Tell me what it's like to see this through.
All right.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
I read some material about you. Fans of modern guitar pop rock may recognize Lee from his days as Kevin Lee and the Lonesome City Kings. Signed to MCA in the 90s, the band's first single, Standing in the Line of Fire, was chosen for an NBA All-Star video and used in the movie A Dangerous Woman. How did all that come about?
Well, when you got a major label behind it, all kinds of things happen that wouldn't happen otherwise, you know. So, and plus, you know, having that behind you when you pitch those things to those people, they're far more prone to take interest in you versus, you know, if you're just like an indie rocker or whatever. You know? Yeah. Sure. Which has changed. The game has changed drastically since then. That was in '93. So, you know, the record deal thing, all that was still alive and well. But, so, yeah, it was just pitch. I had management. I had major management out in L.A., and, you know, they were just throwing stuff out there and scored a couple things for me. So
That's cool.
yeah, it was cool. It was all right.
Nowadays, it's more like guerrilla warfare.
Yes.
Everybody's selling their own tunes on iTunes and every place else, and it's a different ballgame out there.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's just gone. You know, what was is gone. It's a whole new, like you said, new ballgame, yeah.
So you were originally from Chicago.
I'm originally from Bloomington, Illinois.
Bloomington, Illinois.
Yeah.
Oh, forget that. No. So your first bands came out of Bloomington?
Yeah, I've been in a band since I was a little kid.
14?
Played all the dances, and that was back when they used to have bands in the junior high. You know, they'd have dances and stuff. And, you know, I was always the band guy, bands all throughout high school. Moved to New York right out of high school, played in bands out there, came back. You know, just I've been all over, lived in L.A. for years playing in bands. Just, yeah.
So it's
been a lifelong pursuit.
What brought you back into Chicago then?
Well, I was living in Los Angeles, and ironically, you were talking about MCA. I was out there and actually had a meeting with MCA, was pitching songs at them, got turned down, and then got on the phone and talked to some people that, you know, I knew back here. There used to be a band that was really big in Chicago called The Kind, yes. And their guitar player, Frank Capek, and I have always been the best of friends. So I called Frankie up and a few other people and kind of put a band together on the phone. So I came back here because I knew I had all these grade A players to come back to, because L.A., you know, I played all the clubs on the Strip and stuff, but it just wasn't panning out or anything. And then I just got turned down by those guys. Came back and put this band together, which ended up being Kevin Lee and the Lonesome City Kings. So that's why I came back.
Okay.
And then, you know, we pounded the turf for a couple of years, pitched songs to labels and stuff, and then I ended up getting signed by MCA after I was turned down by him a few years before that with a couple of the same songs.
Well, you never know when it's
Now
going to
this
happen.
was with members of the kind.
Just Frankie.
Just Frankie.
It was guys. There used to be a band called Pinups
I remember
that was
Pinups.
real big in the Haymakers days. The bass player Joey Setner was the bass player in that band. It was kind of the best of the old guys that were on the scene back then, you know. And so I was very fortunate to be able and felt lucky to play with those guys. And it was a killer band, really great band.
Chicago in the 70s and 80s, as far as bands and bars, was about the place to be.
Yes, there were bands, you know. And when I had a band earlier before that in the 80s called Kevin Lee and Heartbeat that did really well in town. There were bands in Los Angeles that heard of the band because the pop thing was huge then that were calling me up wanting to come out. I had a couple guys come out and audition from Los Angeles, and you know, and so it was. You're right. People were coming here from other towns.
I've got musicians in our group from Australia, and their first question was, "Do you know Pezband? Do you know Mimi?"
You're like, "Yes, I do."
Yes. Very hot commodity out there.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
They still like the Beatles type stuff, and they're still very popular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very nice.
Cool. Well, can you play us another tune?
Yeah, absolutely.
Please.
All right, this one's called Time Won't Stand Still. It's off my CD, Dust Till Dawn. This one, just a little history on the tune, hit number one at WX in Cincinnati in 2010 and stayed there for 3 weeks. So that was pretty cool at the time. It was yesterday, the days were long, running with my friends from dusk till dawn. My whole life ahead, a long winding road. I had a choice to make, a chance to take, which way to go. But time won't stand still, it walks on by. Time won't stand still for you and I. Soon came the day I was on my own. I wanted to be free, let my voice be known. I searched to find a dream come true. I knew in time I'd get mine, get my due. Time won't stand still, it walks on by. Time won't stand still for you and I. Tomorrow waits for no one here. Days go by and disappear. Minutes turn to months, turn into years. Now life's so fast, the years fly by. I make my play every day, it's do or die. But time won't stand still, it walks on by. Time won't stand still for you and I. Time won't stand still, it walks on by. Time won't stand still.
Let me ask you a question. How does a guy from Bloomington with serious roots in Chicago, occasional familiarity with L.A., wind up with the number one hit in Cincinnati, Ohio?
Long story short, there's a company that I work with, a promotion company in Wales, of all places, called TSN Promotions. They love my stuff, and they really get the word out for me. So they have a number of radio stations that they send stuff to. Like, every time I put out a new album, I send them X amount of stuff, all these promo kits, blah, 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 and then they send them all out. That came through them.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And they sent it initially to the local music show that they have. And they played it on there, and then they got such a response from that song that it transferred over to the actual radio station, and then it kind of took off from there.
Does that generate any tours for you out in the areas?
No. I mean, it probably would have 20 years ago, but again, like we were saying, it's all changed, and there's just, there's so much music coming at these people. And
It's so odd because you know that they sent that same promo package all over the United States, and I'm sure your song was doing good in a lot of places, but yet it did become number one over there in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the DJs kept, week by week, kept sending me little emails and notes going, what, do you got a golden bullet in your gun? And making all these little funny digs, going, how is this possible, sort of. And then, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good for you.
Yeah, thanks, yeah. And then one day it just disappeared.
Well, yeah.
But
it's music business.
Sure.
But then again, it can come all back again.
Yeah. No, it felt good. I felt lucky to have that, so yeah.
Yeah. You're 30 minutes of fame.
Yes.
Number one gets you an extra 15.
There you go. Now, I understand that you've opened for groups like REO, Cheap Trick, Pearl Jam, Lou Gramm, and Matthew Sweet. And that's no small accomplishment. Can you tell us something about those experiences?
Again, that all pretty much happened. Well, I played a couple of shows with Trick after when we weren't signed anymore. After all of that, but most of that was when I was signed. We toured with REO Speedwagon as their opening act for a couple of years, and those were probably the biggest shows of all of those. Like, we played the Auburn Hills Sports Arena and opened for them, and it was sold out, and I think that place holds 26,000 or something like that. So, I mean, that's really something to walk out in front of that many people, especially for myself, because, I've been playing in clubs for the most part,
sure.
My whole life. I'm a bar guy, basically. So it was cool, and it was really up my game, and all of a sudden we became this sort of arena-style sort of band, because you have to sort of change how you throw yourself out there to that many people. And, it was great. It's,
Sounds like a blast.
Yeah, those guys, they were selling out anywhere from 5,000 to, like 25,000 seat rooms. Yeah. And, and again, and it was in the middle 90s, and they were still a huge, huge touring act. I mean, they're still touring, but I think they're playing smaller venues at this point.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
But even back then, there were a lot of bands that played the clubs that ended up changing their names because no one wanted to go see a band for a $20 ticket they just saw for $2 3 months ago.
Yeah, there you go.
And there was a big thing about that. I know I went through an experience such as that before I left the business, and it just all comes around. Love the memories, though. Yeah,
I'm so grateful to have experienced that, because so many guys don't, and that, was what you're shooting for. So for the 5 minutes of it I got, it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to take a break here for about 3 minutes, so don't touch that dial.